He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Now go away.
Welcome back to the Monday Bible Study on the Selah Time to Pause podcast. I'm Ian, and as you'll know by now, we're working our way slowly through John's Gospel.
John 1 verses 19 to 23 says, "This was John's testimony when the Jewish leaders sent priests and temple assistants from Jerusalem to ask John, 'Who are you?' He came right out and said, 'I am not the Messiah.' 'Well then, who are you?' they asked. 'Are you Elijah?' 'No,' he replied. 'Are you the prophet we were expecting?' 'No.' 'Then who are you? We need an answer for those who sent us. What do you have to say about yourself?' John replied in the words of the prophet Isaiah, 'I am a voice shouting in the wilderness, clear the way for the Lord's coming.'
I will stop and breathe in your presence. Just breathe. Just breathe.
The brief clip with which we started today's podcast is perhaps one of the most famous lines from Monty Python's Life of Brian. When it was first released in 1979, I'm told that there was an awful lot of controversy surrounding that film. There were those who thought it was ridiculing the Christmas story, and particularly Jesus. I'm not sure that that's a fair assessment of the film, and whilst it was certainly not written as a Christian apologetic to convert people to the faith, and nor was it written and filmed as a scholarly historical piece, it does capture and highlight through its caricature of first century Judea something of the reality of that time. At one point in the film, we see a crowd of Jews chasing around the desert looking for Messiah, looking for any possible sign, looking for any hint of revelation from God, looking for direction, searching for a leader. The world it depicts, the same world in which John the Baptist was living, is one that had been waiting for a leader for more than 400 years, someone who could rescue them, a new prophet, perhaps even a new king, a leader chosen by God and anointed by him, one who would rescue, one who would save. In their language, they were desperate for a Messiah. In Greek, they were awaiting the Christ. For anyone with a strong motivation to change the world, this would surely be massively tempting. The opportunity to accomplish your goals and to surround yourself with willing disciples to push your message further, shout it louder and spread it wider would be hard to ignore. John was a man with a message. By his own mouth he calls himself a voice shouting. How much better would it be to accept their suggestion that he was the Messiah? How much more quickly would his message be heard if he had the approval of the Jewish leaders and temple assistants? How many more would hear? How many more would believe? When the deputation came to John, they were expecting him to answer yes. He was clearly a man who could draw a crowd and who had captivated the imagination of the people, a man with a vision and a charismatic leader. As Scottish preacher William Dawson put it,
"He was a man which met the traditional conception of what the Messiah was to be. The ball was at his feet, the sceptre within his grasp. The hermit of the desert may tomorrow be a king."
And but one word would decide his future. What strength would it take to turn that sort of opportunity down if presented to you on a plate?
Hail, Messiah! I'm not the Messiah! I say you are, Lord, and I should know I've followed a few. Hail, Messiah! I'm not the Messiah. Will you please listen? I am not the Messiah. Do you understand? Honestly!
Only the true Messiah denies his divinity.
What? Well, what sort of chance does that give me? All right, I am the Messiah. He is the Messiah.
We see that temptation writ large in its exaggerated form enacted in various cult leaders of today. Those who falsely make the claim to be such a Messiah in order to gain influence, followers, luxury, women, riches and power. And whilst that specific challenge may not present itself to most of us, we do have to face its more subtle cousin. Are you content to appear just as and what you are? Or do you face the temptation to exaggerate your own importance? Are you sometimes tempted to try to appear more holy than you know you are? Do you ever try to craft the image that you portray of yourself to the wider world, to the point that it actually becomes a deception? It's a common temptation in today's social media world. If we look at Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and the like, and I'm not merely talking about the accounts of celebrities here, we so often see carefully designed and constructed images and videos devised to depict a perfect life and, by association, a perfect person. It's a temptation we all face. Sex, money, power or influence are strong motivations in the human heart, and there are very few who are not ready to appear more learned, more clever, innocent or better off than we really are if we can only get away with it. As William Dawson also said,
how much need there is for absolute truth-telling in social life.
Life has not much changed since the 1800s when he wrote that, and nor have the temptations we have faced changed much since those religious leaders came asking John. The temptations of the trappings of influence are still just as strong.
To speak truth at all times in the ordinary dealings of life is difficult.
It was not easy for John to resist. Is it easy for us? One of the most important aspects of godly character is humility. God emphasizes it more than any other character trait in the scriptures except love. It's not about self-deprecation or putting yourself down, treating yourself badly, the ascetic denial of self, self-mortification, discipline, self-pity, self-hatred, poverty, wearing shoddy clothing, low self-esteem, or acting legalistic with religious tradition. Yes, humility has to do with viewing yourself in the proper manner regarding your weaknesses and limitations, but it's also about recognizing your gifts, abilities, and purpose. John did not respond by calling himself a worm of a man, but happily said,
I am a voice shouting in the wilderness, clear the way for the Lord's coming.
He knew who he was not, but he also knew who he was and what was his purpose. Do you? And do you allow that knowledge to give you the strength to resist the urge to contrive an artificial you for public consumption? I pray that we will each have the courage for honesty in both our daily and social media living.
Lord, I cry for humility. Crush the pride that has blinded me. Forgive my hidden faults and bring the fear of God until your dreads in me. I will worship in spirit and in truth. Teach me discipline to meditate on you. You gave up your life, I must give my all to you. Remove the veil so I can see. Grant me grace to see my wickedness. You must increase while I become less. Keep your servant from willful sin, so I'll stand blameless before your throne. I will worship in spirit and in truth. Teach me discipline to meditate on you. You gave up your life, I must give my all to you. Remove the veil so I can see. I will worship in spirit and in truth. Teach me discipline to meditate on you. You gave up your life, I must give my all to you. Remove the veil so I can see. Remove the veil so I can see. Remove the veil so I can see. I want to see you. I want to know you. I want to see you. It is my all. It is my everything to know you. It is my all. It is my everything to know you.
Lord, life has no purpose unless it is yours. Life without you has no goal. All that fulfills me is doing your will, knowing that you're in control. So take all that I am, all I can be, all that I have, and all that is me. I accept and use, Lord, as you would choose, Lord, right now today. Take every passion, every skill, take all my dreams and bend them to your will. My all I give, Lord. For you I'll live, Lord. Come what may. Amen. I hope you'll join with us again tomorrow as once again we pause to catch our breath, draw near to God and refresh our spirits.